A warm welcome to everyone out there. You're watching Diplomatic Faces, a program where we exchange thoughts and ideas on the importance of geopolitics and global initiatives taken by different leaders for the benefit of everyone. And today in conversation with us is Her Excellency Devi Gustina Tobing, the Indonesian ambassador for Sri Lanka. Your Excellency, a warm welcome, and we are honored by your presence here with us today.
Thank you very much, Sanani, for the opportunity.
And you being a lady, women are multitaskers, and I mean, given a task of any sort, they will always accomplish that. So yourself is a, I mean, example. So how do you manage with your personal life and your work and everything that's happening around you?
Well, it's a very long journey. I have already been in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for more than 30 years. Being a lady, as you mentioned, also is one of the unique way to be a diplomat. But what I always try to stick on to be balanced with the work and also with the family. So when someone asks which one is the most important one, family or job, I said, well, I serve my country, that's number one, but my family is the priority. So it's always the same. So it's a very good experience that I have for doing this job. It's not easy actually, because since the beginning I have to take care also my family, even my husband also I have to accompany me. But we are doing well because understanding each other. And most important also, I'm very proud of this job, and also my family, my husband and my two children, they are very supportive on me. So in a way, I don't really have much problem, only how to deal together. If we have problem, then we can solve together. My husband very supportive, my two children also very happy, even though because of looking of my job, they don't want to be a diplomat because they said, oh, so busy. And sometimes I really have to take their time, and then I cannot take care of them the whole day. So it's not easy for them, I know, but at the end, it's okay. I doing this job with proudly, because I can serve my country. And now I'm here as an ambassador. It's a long process, as I said. It's just my dedication that I try my best to do this job.
Being a woman and playing all these roles is not an easy task,
Yeah.
but then again, I mean, I wish you all the best in all what you do and many more opportunities to help people around the world.
Yeah.
Having said so, speaking of your country, Indonesia is the only G20 member state in Southeast Asia, and also it's the largest island in the world and the fourth most populous nation with a population of, I think, about 270 million people. So with that, it also has the 10th largest economy, where, I mean, in terms of purchasing power parity. So how has Indonesia managed to achieve this current economic status?
We experienced a lot actually. Even we already passed the crisis in 1997, 98, and we developed our economy with what we have, the resources. One thing, we have 270 million population. With the location of our Indonesian countries as an archipelagic, as you mentioned, 17,000 islands, it's an opportunity but also a challenge, because how to connect between one to another is another thing. But at the same time, we managed to utilize the resources that we have. Luckily, Indonesia located in a very fertilized land. We have a very good agriculture, a wide agriculture as well. At the same time also, we develop our industry. And with our population is another thing. Many of them are small business people, small business enterprises. Even they are the backbone of our economy. 60% of our GDP coming from them, and about 99% of Indonesian economy is the small and medium business class. And because of this strong bone and the very big influence of the Indonesian SMEs, we also have a very strong economic domestic consumption. This makes us quite resilient actually, because we can manage what we have internally to develop ourselves. So the dependency of Indonesian economy, let's say, even less compared like to many countries, for example. So in that way, when something happens internationally, it's not like directly affected to our economy. We are strong inside, and at the same time also we have strong natural resources. As you may know, Indonesia is the biggest producer in the world for palm oil. That's really support our economy even now during this crisis all over the world, as well as our mineral resources. And at the same time, my President Joko Widodo, really push or promote the country not only to the natural resources one, but also to the industrial sector. If not by producing like totally final products, at least we maintain to keep the value added to the country. So we don't export only like natural one, but we give value added to the community, to the country. So with that system, with the strong bone of Indonesian economy, we are quite resilient actually. And even just recently, I know that Indonesia belongs to the 10 biggest economic country, and in that 10 biggest, we are number 7. And projected also later in 2030, 2050, gonna be number 4 in the world. But of course, we have to work hard for that. We are now like preparing ourselves to prepare our human resources well, because as you know, with the 270 million population, it's about 150 at a young age. We call it demographic bonus. But this bonus should be utilized properly. So that's why we put very importance on education for them to be able to enhance themselves. So I mean, those kind of things that maybe contribute a lot to the Indonesian economy at this time.
And like you very correctly mentioned, Your Excellency, you said, I mean, Indonesia is a huge country with almost 17,000 islands, and you have about 1,300 ethnic groups that is, I mean, native to the archipelago itself.
Yeah.
But then again, how do you manage, and how does it, how can the Indonesian peoples yet live in peace with, I mean, such a large area?
Well, it's very, very interesting. In the world, we can say Indonesia is the most diversified. So once we say that Indonesia is the ultimate in diversity, name it, for example, in the culture, race, religion, ethnicity, language, dialects. I think we have more than, I don't know, 500 dialects even within the country. But first, the most important thing, we are united by one language. So wherever we go, even though everybody have their own dialect or language, we can speak one to another. So across the country, we don't have problem to communicate. And also about the religion, under the Constitution of Indonesia, we recognize 6 religions, Muslim, Christian, Hindu, Buddhist, and also Confucius. So Christian, we say like Protestant as well as Catholic. So this also a strong bond by our motto, the Indonesian fundamental motto Pancasila. We call Pancasila. So with this Pancasila, actually it's a very cohesive and then make Indonesian be one as together. So that's why we, even though we have many religions, we don't have any problem with one to another. We respect each other. We have a very high tolerance, living in harmony, and of course, this also make Indonesia become a peaceful country.
I guess your motto says it all, unity in diversity. So with that, we also know that the capital, Jakarta, is going to be moved to Kalimantan. So if you could elaborate on that, Your Excellency, please.
Yes, we are planning now. The President Joko Widodo during his presidency, this is one of the projection that His Excellency now doing to move the capital actually from Jakarta to east of Kalimantan. The reason behind this, of course, we would like to create, like to diversify the development, so more centralized in the, because the island, the Kalimantan island, is in the almost in the central location of Indonesia actually. So we would like to spread the development. Before it's more to western side of Indonesia. So the eastern side, it's a little bit left behind. So even though now we already done a lot, the current government also already spreading the development, but when we move it later to Kalimantan, even will benefit all Indonesia at the same time. Of course, at the same time, it's also creating a new job, and the current capital Jakarta also, it's very crowded at this time, traffic jam, and also so many people live there. So by moving also so many benefits that we will have later in the future. We try to make this moving this capital into 3 stages actually. The second one, the first one, the completion of core infrastructure, which we have, we expect will be finished until 2024, and then in the second one, the second stage, it will be the construction, and the third stage it will be the final stage, which end until 2045 actually. So there are so many preparation at this time. Of course, it's already been agreed by our parliament about the strategic plan to move the capital of Indonesia from Jakarta to Kalimantan.
And I think the Indonesian people are amazing. I mean, they've gone through different challenges, especially many natural disasters, just like the earthquakes and the tsunami that took away almost 230,000 lives in 2004, so of Indonesian people and the Sri Lankan people. So how is it that the Indonesians manage to overcome these tragedies over and over again, and has the government taken any sort of measures to mitigate such environmental impacts?
Yeah, well, it's a very sad and strategic disaster, as you mentioned, that it's not only in Indonesia but also affected many countries, including Sri Lanka. But it's natural disaster. We have to cope with it. But the important thing, how to deal with it. So during the tsunami time, actually, Indonesia have a strategic plan, 3 stages that we are preparing at that time. First, at the very beginning, it's the emergency response stage, what we call it. So in order to make sure that all the victims and those the victims still alive, as well as those the evacuation of the body, we are focusing on that. So which not easy at that time because all the infrastructure also damaged. There is no possible also to go through the road. Some we have to go through the sea coming to the area. But cleaning everything and also to saving the people and also taking care of the bodies and doing some temporary infrastructure to make sure that not only for the people affected but also those volunteers that try to help in that situation. So that is the very early stages what we are doing at that time. And the second one is the rehabilitation phase actually. It's 2005-2006. Of course, because of the big impact of this tsunami, we have to improve the public works, and also we have to improve many facilities for the people to stay there. It took about 2 years to do that, and the third stage is the reconstruction. We built houses also for the people, and also to build many roads and to bring the economy up again. But from that experience, Indonesia also prepare how we could strengthen to deal with the natural disaster, because Indonesia itself, we are located in the ring of fire, not only tsunami but also earthquake and also volcano also. But at the same time, Indonesia also abundant with many fertilized land because of their strategic location, and also because of this position also. So it is still a bless for us. But the important thing, we have to prepare ourselves to be able to cope with any disaster. And so far, we are doing good. And even sometimes also we can help others, also another country, when they have the same problem.
So this year marks the 70th anniversary of Indonesia and Sri Lankan bilateral ties. So what are some of the key decisions that we could highlight from this occasion?
70 years is a long experience between the two countries. We have a very good relation bilaterally, politically, economically, and social also. People to people also, we are very close in each other. And not only 70 years actually, we have been a very long history with the coming of the Malay people, which majority of them, maybe in many centuries ago, majority of them coming from Indonesia. But at the same time, we established these diplomatic relations in 1952. So the 70 years experience together, I think, bring a lot of benefit for both sides. What we say about the mark of this anniversary, me myself as an ambassador of Indonesia here in Sri Lanka, I try to bring more benefit or closer relation for our two countries. So in politics, we are good enough. So we have a very close relations. We support each other in many candidature. For example, it means that we know that we are having the capabilities that, and then of course we need to support. So in that way, I mean, in terms of politics and many other relation other than candidature, we also have many achievements together. But most important thing, I think, is about economy. How this economy could fruitful and then could bring benefit to the both community. And for this, we try to enhance more, to encourage more the business people. During my presence this year, that is what I'm doing so far. I try to work together with the private sector, because I think during this difficult time, the economic crisis, the contribution of the private sector, for them to be able to do business more because of their collaboration, it will be very beneficial for the people, for the country. So that is the very symbolic thing that I'm looking for actually at this time. So for that, we are doing also a lot to link, although because of the crisis, it's a little bit affected the collaboration between the two countries, for example, in terms of economic or import export, not as much as before, but even though I think it gives still bring benefit. So this is what I'm trying to enhance, and this will be the very important message of how the 70 years that we are going now to go further, to bring more prosperity for our two community.
Speaking of trade affairs, Your Excellency, yes, we have been importing certain goods to Indonesia, and we have been exporting goods to Indonesia, and we have been importing goods from Indonesia. So, I mean, like you mentioned, palm oil, cotton, and cement were some of the things that we have been importing, and wheat flour is something that we have been exporting. So, like you very correctly said, yes, we are going through an economic crisis, and we need a lot of support to develop our economies. So, what sort of measures can we take to improve our trade affairs, and what sort of goods can we import to Indonesia at a time like this?
That's a very good question and very important, because that is also my focus. we are trying to see how this relation really bring benefit, not only like exporting and then that's it, but what we are looking for actually how Indonesia could support the industry of Sri Lanka. We know that Sri Lanka import a lot also, besides export of course, but most of the import that they need at this time, I think for the industry. Indonesia with our intermediate products, we are very strong in that. We are willing to support the company in Sri Lanka in a way they could produce their products and then of course if it is necessary also for the exported oriented. So if we could supply them, so for them to be able to export more better than before, this will be a kind of contribution as well. So that is what we are focusing in now, and even now I'm talking to my government, to my Exim Bank, how can we support Sri Lanka, the companies at this time. This is now in the process, so hopefully through this collaboration even will contribute a lot to support the recovery in Sri Lanka by having collaboration with Indonesian companies.
And speaking of cultural affairs, what do you see similarities in our cultures, and how can we strengthen our cultural ties between the two countries?
Well, in terms of culture, is very interesting. I like Sri Lankan culture, very energetic, and also Indonesia. We also have some like dances like that. This kind of collaboration, I think, is also good to know each other. And at the same time, we have also the similarities in terms of religious. Indonesia have as I mentioned under my constitution, acknowledge many religions like in Sri Lanka as well. This also something that very interesting and excite me to exchange, let's say exchange views, exchange expertise, because Indonesia through this many religion we are living in harmony, and of course I see also in Sri Lanka, but we still can learn each other. How can we enhance this community actually, understand each other and collaborate each other. I think this will be another program that I'm going to do later on. So through this culture, through this similarity, we can do more. Even now, we are now trying to promote our culture here in Sri Lanka. We give some classes also for dances classes, even for language. Language also very important because I think through this language we can introduce each other easily. Since the business is there, when young people coming to learn the language, I think it will be very, very useful for them. About the religion, exchanges views, and then doing the interfaith dialogue is another thing that very, very important. And at the same time also, since Sri Lanka is majority are Buddhist, I also need to introduce more about Indonesia. Indonesia is most populated of Indonesia is Muslim, are Muslim actually. But during the history, we also have the influence of Buddhists in Indonesia. That's why in Central Java is located the biggest Buddhist temple in the world. I hope you know also Borobudur. So I also would like also to promote this, how the influence of Buddhists in Indonesia, how now the collaboration between the interreligion, which is very, very interesting, I think, and very important.
And you've been here for almost 11 months.
Yes.
So how has your stay been here? What sort of experience have you gained being here in Sri Lanka?
Yeah, I enjoy Sri Lanka very much. Since the beginning, I arrived in December in 2021. Before presenting my credential, I know I cannot make an official visit yet at that time. So what I was doing at that time, I travel a lot to the country. I visit many places, and then I just visit, have a like interaction with the community to the south, to the east, and also even I travel already to the north, to Jaffna. So I enjoy Sri Lanka. It's a beautiful country. And also the feeling. When I go, let's say to Kandy, and then on the way there, I have the feeling this is like my country. So we have so many similarities. So for me, it's so have a good feeling to stay here.
And since we've had a very long relationship, Your Excellency, what would be your message for the future for both our countries?
Well, Sri Lanka is a very important country. Strategically located, it's a, is a very good in terms of politics, also in terms of economy. So Indonesia as well, we are a big countries and also very good location, very good resources. What the message I would like to know to share here, we should work together. We should use our potency because there are so many untapped potency yet that we haven't been working on. So we should try to work together in a way to bring more benefit for countries. Well, we have a joint collaboration also, joint commission between the two countries. We try to also activate that because for sometimes because of the COVID situation we cannot do this until now, but we will bring it together. It's a dialogue between the two ministers actually, this joint commission. So we will try to bring again this joint commission hopefully next year, so we can discuss more. We can discuss more what aspect that we could expand more, what sector that we could cooperate together. But it's on in the pipeline. Even though it's not there, we are preparing it now, and I have a very good collaboration with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, our colleague, and also some other institutional concern.
So all along we've heard how Indonesia has supported Sri Lanka and many other countries. So I take this opportunity to thank you and your government for all the support you've given Sri Lanka in numerous ways. And I also would like to wish you and your family all the very best in life.
Thank you very much. I also thank you for Sri Lanka because I think we have a very good collaboration, and I would like during my presence here to also even more contribute to this collaboration and cooperation. And thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you so much, Excellency. This brings us to the end of another segment, and until we meet again, all the very best throughout.